all you have to bring to the world is what is unequal about you. And so and you'd think that people who push on the diversity end of things would recognize that above all else. And so by forcing equality, you actually destroy what everyone has to bring to the table to trade. And that's a terrible thing because you punish them then for the best thing they have. That's one terrible thing. But the other thing is you deprive everyone of the opportunity to benefit from everyone bringing what's unique about them to the table. So I would say there's a terrible contradiction between diversity as a value and equality of outcome as a desire. Those two things I don't see how they're logically commensurate.
That's a very interesting point. I really like it. That in effect, our collective well-being is a matter of the creation of wealth through the exchange, and the exchange inherently requires an inequality, right?
Yes. And you even work for the inequality, because let's say you're only as good as everyone else at everything. Well, then you're going to go out and educate yourself like mad about something, right, until you're now a marketable commodity. And so you're making yourself, you're increasing the amount of inequality as a consequence, but that's actually a virtue, not a vice.
Another way of putting it is that in order for all of the jobs to get done that make us collectively robust and well off, people have to arbitrage things that are under valued. In other words, if there is a dearth of computer programmers, then it is your desire to get ahead that might cause you to go into computer programming, which is the force that ensures that there are enough computer programmers in the next round of the game. And if you don't have that motivation, because everybody has been slated for an equal outcome, then the point is there's no telling what you'll have too many of and too few of in the next round, because there's no reward for figuring out which thing is
worse
too sparse.
Even there's a punishment for being exceptional, because your exceptionality exists in violation of the principle of equality.
Yes, it's the Harrison Bergeron dystopia. And so anyway, I didn't want to drag us too far down the road here, but I do want to say that I think both of these arguments against anything Marxist must be on the table, right? Not only does it devolve into something authoritarian and ineffective at feeding people, but it also wouldn't be desirable even if it didn't. It would be horrifying. And so I want to put that as a counterpoint to what I was arguing for before, which is in order for us to continue through the next several hundred years, let's say, and to continue to enjoy a high quality of living, we have to retool the objectives of the system so that they give the human beings the somatic sensations that they need. We have to feel that we are living in a time of growth, because we will be less violent if we feel the sensation of growth. I think your point about integrating the dangerous components of the human psyche with the productive components is probably key to this as well. In other words, and in fact, we can see many examples of this, right? So, for example, if we look into the past, before widely available birth control, for example, before widely available birth control, women were wise to avoid engaging in behavior that might cause them to have to raise a child alone, because that's a very expensive mistake to make. The fact of women being careful about that made sexual relationships with women scarce. They had a high bar to them. And when they had a high bar to them, that created an awful lot of motivation for straight males to achieve things, right? And so the point is, okay, we pulled the plug on that system. Sex became common. people are now much more, or straight males are much less likely to have incentive to participate in the system. So maybe we've substituted a pure financial incentive for what was once a romance incentive, right? So that's one example. Another example might be the case of the way once upon a time corporations used to deal with their career employees, right? Who came in at some rung of the ladder, and every year or two was awarded a bonus, or a raise and an increase in the benefits that they had access to, and that creates a kind of sensation of growth, even if the economy was stagnant. And so, in any case, what I'm arguing is that there have been things in the past that functioned so as to create the correct structure of incentives for a person so that they had meaning and direction in their life, so that basically by following a normal set of impulses, they ended up likely to contribute. And then what we've got now is effectively, well, very much to the title of your book, chaos, where following one's impulses is very likely to lead you to spend tremendous number of hours playing a video game that does not contribute positively to the world, but costs you, has an opportunity cost with respect to what you will learn and achieve.